Well, I'm here with Lola and Chris McClarney. One of them's more famous than the other one, and it's super stoked that we got to come here to this awesome studio, play some songs, hang out with you, and
so fun to have you guys here.
Well, we just love like the mission and like what you're doing. I think it's
thanks, man.
In a world where the music industry is, can sometimes be some bad guys or kind of feel like things are not the way that they always could be. It seems like you're really doing some really interesting things.
Loves you.
Yeah, it's great. I probably put a bunch of food on my hand earlier. But I just want to hear about, your label, your studio, kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I've been writing worship for years now for church. And some of those got recorded by other people, which was awesome and kind of paved the way for me to be able to make a living doing worship stuff. In 2020, all of my best buds, who are the band guys, were texting like crisis, like we pray, like I'm all out of money. And these are like big guys in town that like my friends are playing on everyone else's worship records. And I realized they only get paid when they play. So because we couldn't tour and because people weren't recording at the time, they were just flat broke. And it was weirding me out because you would recognize the licks that these people like invented and like people, hundreds of videos on YouTube teaching people how to play some guitar part or drum part that one of my friends did, and they can't even pay their bills. And it felt so weird, like, wait, the worship, people that dedicate their lives to playing bass for God cannot make a living long enough to raise a family. And I know this because all of my bass buddies, and bass guys are normally the smartest guys in the band. All of my bass buddies, once they have a family, they play music for like a year and then it's like, I got to get a real job. So I decided I would sell all of my old catalog of songs on the publishing side. And I was like, we're the ones that can make music. Let's just start making music and sharing it. So the vision for this place, I sold my catalog, bought a studio, and the goal is we can make music for free. So we can bring in artists that have the heart, and we can surround them with the best musicians in Nashville, and we can make a whole record for $0. And then on the back end, if it does well, we just split it. So in an industry right now where a typical artist would get 15% of a deal. So the label loans you $100,000 and then you split it 80, they keep 85% of the profit and you get 15. But you pay back that $100,000 off of the 15%.
Right.
Which means you got to sell like $1 million.
It's really hard.
Yeah. You got to sell $1 million worth of product before you ever make $1 as an artist. Now, typically the way the musicians get paid is a day rate. So if you're super good, maybe you can get a day rate of $500. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is their friend who's a producer is like, bro, I need a guitar track. I only have $50. So they're playing iconic parts that live on everything you've ever heard on the radio is from dudes that aren't making money long-term off of it. And it was like, let's let them split the joy of it. So a producer on a record right now will make 4 or 5 points. That's what all of our players will make on every record, 4 to 5 points or more if they do more than just like some of our guys mix too. So we're able to make records for $0. And on day one, if God's on it, then everybody gets blessed. And what we've done is cut out all the regular label stuff and said, what would it look like if the label didn't make money? So we're kind of trying to build it like a non-profit organization whose sole job is to facilitate worship music and the people that have dedicated their lives would be able to see the reward of that because it is making money. Yeah. There's a lot of money being made on worship music. And it just feels evil that it's all kind of based on predatory loans and like handouts. It's like a weird. So we're trying to just beat the system and kind of doing it by playing nice with everybody. We're just building relationships. The good news about growing up here in Nash is I've got all the friends. Like, these are my buds. They work at labels now. They're heads of labels. And it's like, well, I'm wearing one of their shirts now. I have my own label called Real Fun Records with my buddy Jesse we're building. And this is Rethink, which is my buddy Jeff Gunkel has a label over at Capitol. And he's doing great stuff too. I say that to say we're playing fun with all of our friends. We're not trying to kill worship industry, but I do hope we make a dent on how it's done. Yeah. Like, where we can make a place for guitar players and bass players and drummers for the long term so that they can have families, mix engineers so that they can dedicate their time to making awesome music, but be able to pay the bills and not have to do, 16-hour days every day just to make ends meet. That's the goal. Yeah. And we called it Real Fun Records because we want to do real stuff and we want to have fun doing it. So, yeah.
You seem pretty good at having fun.
We are good at having fun.
My experience.
Yeah. Well, the name of this studio is Fun Time Studios because for me, the way music is made now, again, they loan you money, you have to pay it back. So you're kind of at the will of the label as to what they think will make their money back. Now, I don't know if you've listened to Christian radio lately. I'll watch my language. It's not good. It all kind of sounds the same. And that's on purpose because they know they can make their money back. But what that does is it kills all creativity. There's no new sound in worship coming out. It's all the same. It starts with a pad. And then, you teach them.
72 beats per minute. Yeah.
It's between 68 and 72, and you're going to start with the pad. It's going to be, and then a guitar will come strumming.
And then that'll get buried by the bass and toms.
But we have to do that now because there's all this money to pay back. But what would happen if you took that pressure off of musicians? If you let them just create again? So we called this Fun Time Studios because I don't want the focus to be outside of just let's build relationships, let's make music together. Practically, let's have fun. And out of the overflow of relationship, I think we'll be able to monetize that in kind of a sideways way. It's not like we're even asking people for money directly. They're already listening to iTunes and Spotify. We're basically just saying, hey, I hope you like this. If you do, every time you stream it, the guitar player is going to get money.
Yeah.
And the beauty of us all sharing in the reward and defeat, I'm sure we'll make some stinkers as we go, but we'll all share in that. Yeah. They're like, hey, if this wins, we all win. Yeah. And the way we have it set up now, me and my partner who are building it, we don't get more than the band guys. We're kind of in this together. It's how can we build something that's fair and is beyond reproach? Like, if people can come and dig through our books, I want them to be able to be like, oh no, these guys are fair. They're good. They're trying to do it righteously.
So how long have you been going?
So like 5 months. We've been trugging along. Last November, we got the place. And then about halfway through this year, March, April-ish, we finally got stuff beginning to be installed. And then for the last 5 months or so, we've been able to record. And me and my partner, Jesse, started meeting every day, 5 days a week, like a job. We'd sit in this room and just go, what's next? And just saw favor on top of favor, on top of favor, on top of favor. And since then, we've been able to meet with everybody from Apple Music, who let us use their facilities for a writing camp, which was so freaking fun.
That's awesome.
Spotify and Amazon Music, and then all the label partner friends and Multitracks and CCLI and even you guys. I just feel like God's really set us up with relationships that are that matter, but are also just fun.
Yeah.
Like, the guys that we've met in this process are just fun.
You're kind of removing this essential ingredient to how songs are usually written, right? Like, you're kind of removing the money driver. Yeah. And so, like, how does that change? You were saying, a lot of things sound the same. Like, how does that change the way you approach writing a song?
So like right now, someone comes in, like say an artist comes in. They want to write from their heart. And what they have is their father died last year and they wrote a song and it's called Daddy's Hands or something. I mean, that's not going to make it on a Christian worship thing because the whole concept, like I'm saying that because we had a guy come and write a song, is so personal. And we're able to record stuff like that and put it out because I don't care if it's like specifically church related in the sense that you're a worshiper that loves God. You're a child of the King and God's put something in you want to let out. And I would love to support that. And part of that comes from years ago. I sat down before God with my hands out in my church office with like all these notebooks laid out and rhyming dictionaries and multiple translations of the Bible and capos and cut capos. I was ready to write a song and I held out my hands and I said, God, give me the songs of heaven. And now what I wanted was God to show me what they're singing up there and then I would do them. And I didn't hear audibly, but whatever's right below that on the scale of like experiencing God, I heard God say, Chris, I already have the songs of heaven. What I want are the songs of Chris. And it hit me like a brick and I just wept. The idea that it's not out here. It's not something you're looking for pieces to put together. If I just had the right rhyming word with that one, stick it together. It's not that. It's like God put something in you. He wants you to give back to him. And to support that, whether it be straight worship music or whether it be someone pouring out their heart about their father, to me, they're kind of the same because they hit the same spot. But we can do, like we did a fade out on a song. When's the last time you heard a fade out on the radio?
Right.
But we can do that because no A&R guy is saying, oh, you're not allowed to do that because we're the A&R guys. So, you know, we can do a minute intro. Like we could do anything. And there's the beauty of even stylistically, we can explore. Being in Nashville, we might lean more towards like country vibes, which we've leaned into a little bit when we've been here. But one of the other fun things we've been able to lean into, which you don't hear a lot on Christian radio, is just old school R&B. Because there's something about getting a bunch of dudes in a room and you start grooving in 6/8 and you're like, I don't know, man. This feels really cool.
Really
like
good.
all of a sudden you're Al Green and you're wishing you had horn sections. And that has been fun. And that's something we wouldn't have stumbled on had we not had the ability to just do whatever we wanted. But when you get into a room and you know that you're not having to aim at the tiniest target of like, well, it has to be accessible. It has to be within these 7 notes. It has to be for this one person. If we just go, well, no, wait, what has God put your heart to aim on? And we'll help you aim at that instead of this other thing. And at least right now, proof of concept, from my point of view, we've had some real stellar recording days of just fun creativity. Because the other thing I haven't mentioned is the way we record, which they'll see in the video you did, is all together. Because I think that's important. And we haven't done that in a long time in this industry.
Feels real different.
Yes. But to be able to sit together and to get the take, you know, they used to be like, oh, that's the one, that's the take. And they messed with it after the fact.
Yeah.
But after you get the core of the song, people playing together, the heart of it, do whatever you want, but get the take, get it right. And yeah, so we're able to do that. And we've left mistakes in songs. People don't do that anymore. I'm all about them. There, it makes it real. I think that's what people want is real stuff and fun stuff.
TLDR.
Okay. Too long, didn't read.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Too long. TLDW for this context.
Yeah,
too long, didn't watch. You fast forwarded to this part of the video. You just want the cliff notes. Basically, we're in Franklin, Tennessee. We're called Real Fun Records, and we're making worship songs, really any songs, for $0. And we're doing that by sharing any reward that comes from it with each other. So, yeah, it's just relational fun music for the kingdom.
That's amazing. We love it. Well, thank you so much for inviting us in here.
Oh, and thanks for coming.
Thanks for hanging out, Lola. We really appreciate your
so
presence.
sweet.
She's a sweetheart for sure. Yeah, really can't wait to do it again, man. Thank
I
you.
love it.